so many times over the years in collaborative work, I've heard fellow professionals say, gosh, if we just could talk to some real people who have been through this. Other than talking to my individual client and getting feedback, I'd love to just hear from people who have been through this process and, by the way, are willing to speak candidly about their experiences. Well, today I'm very happy that these 4 people are the real people who are graciously agreed to speak candidly about their experience in the collaborative process. So to my left is Jeff and Karen. Jeff and Karen have been divorced. Their divorce has been final for approximately 1 year. They have 1 daughter who was 11 at the time of the divorce. Robert and Kristen have been divorced for approximately 2 years. Is that correct? And they have 2 daughters who were 4 and 6 at the time of the divorce. All 4 of these individuals have had the experience of what we call a collaborative team, a full team being available to them from moment one.
Just really feel that the benefit that we got for our family, and regardless of the divorce, we still consider ourselves a family with our daughter. And people all the time are amazed. They say, how can y'all even stand to be in the same room together, much less go to church together? And I said, well, we didn't have to go to war.
Same thing. It was such a wonderful process for us, and people see us all the time. We just took a trip to Europe together in May with the girls, so the girls could experience Europe, and we could see that. And I don't know if that would have been possible without the collaborative process. Mm-hmm. So it's been a real healthy thing for us, but more importantly, it's been incredibly healthy for our girls, and that was the main reason we did it.
Almost at the exact same time that we started in this process, my sister, who lives in Arkansas, also entered a very ugly divorce. And the timelines were very similar. The courses could not have been more dissimilar.
How did you hear about collaborative?
I had a friend who was an attorney who knew both of us, and I told her what we were going through, and that was the first thing that popped out of her mouth, knowing the 2 of us. And I had, same as you, I had no clue about it. I had no idea, and so I Googled it, and I got on the website, and I found gay, and the rest is history.
That was my experience as well. When she mentioned it, and when our friend told us about it, it was a completely online informational experience. Yeah, also, because you're kind of freaked out and you're in bunker mentality at that point in time.
Yes.
So you're at home and you're with your computer and you're trying to figure things out. You're not talking to the world at that point.
Remember how much clients are going to turn to the computer, to the internet. And Jeff, you brought up a very good point that we've heard a lot of people say, is that when one client goes home with the information about collaborative, if it is a divorce situation, some of the awkwardness around even presenting that to a spouse. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Jeff.
And if her attorney had said, oh, no, go after the guy, it wouldn't have happened. She's going to trust her attorney perhaps even more than she's going to trust me at that point.
If you go into this, and that's again in terms of managing expectation, if you go into it saying, okay, this is where I'm going to get to grind all my axes, and I'm going to get to tell all the terrible things, and there were none, hypothetically. But I'm going to get to say all the things, and everyone is going to get to make that face of, oh, how could you? If that's your goal, collaborative is going to be wildly unfulfilling. For the people like us that really wanted it, let's not make any waves, we're all friends, let's get along, let's just get it done, the goal at that point was to explain to us how necessary it was to make sure that both sides were fully represented, that nobody in the interest of expedience let their interests be kind of forgotten about or sidelined. And that was the great thing about having the neutral, is to say, okay, there's going to be somebody in the room that will stop and say, you haven't said anything in 5 minutes.
You just feel so well taken care of. Because it's a scary place to be. And to know that you have an entire team that is there for you, it's just a lot more comforting than just feeling like it's you and your lawyer going to battle against this other person and their lawyer.
Okay.
If 5 years down the road, my daughter was safe and comfortable and strong and confident, and Karen was happy with her situation, I won. It didn't matter how the money went, how the parenting plan turned out, but I just knew that if we were still fighting 5 years down the road, it was a total loss.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Karen, what do you think you would have told me when you were just getting ready to step into the first meeting?
We did have a fairly good relationship at that point, and I think I was worried about the process, making issues that were between us worse, and things just becoming worse than they were, knowing
Yes.
that it was going to be a process.
Yes. Okay. Kristen, Robert, any memory about that?
I was the exact same way. I was mainly worried about it being a hurtful process for Rob. I didn't want to have to go through any of the past reasons. I just wanted it to be a very easy process for him.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was my fear, was that it was all going to be backward looking and reliving everything that I had kind of at that point was okay with, and thought, okay, this is now we have a mental health professional, and so this is going to be group therapy. But that was my goal going into it, was just go with the flow and get through this. But then realizing that there was a lot more that needed to be figured out and said, and that environment was one that facilitated that and pretty much required that. So that was good.
Mm-hmm.